Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this Railbookers presentation on 7 ways to see Switzerland by rail. My name is Peter Trainer, and I will be your host today. And we'll be concentrating on the 7 ways to see Switzerland by rail, what there is to see in Switzerland, and how to get there, and how Railbookers can help you with that. Just for those of you who are new to Railbookers, some information on ourselves. These are our 2 brochures that we've just released for 2019, which is independent, tailor-made rail holidays of Europe and North America. And we are very proud to announce a new partnership with Via Rail, which is the Canadian rail system, and we have a whole program of holidays based around the Canadian rail system, which is available on our website and to order a brochure. Railbookers has been servicing the UK since 2003. So for those of you and we have thousands of satisfied customers for those of you that don't know us. Today we'll be concentrating more on Switzerland. As I said, here's the rail network across the whole of Europe where we offer holidays to, and you can see Switzerland as such an important part of our program. On the website and in our brochure, we have a separate inset map to give you details of the Swiss network and all the iconic scenic trains that are available there. Why book with Railbookers? It's a good question, and I'll be going through the reasons why you should book with us and what we offer our customers. We're a one-stop shop. We're not a rail-only company. We don't sell just rail tickets, but we'll arrange your whole holiday based around the national rail systems of Europe and North America. So we can organize the rail, we can with reservations on the high-speed trains and the scenic trains, we can organize hotels en route and in your destinations, and we offer all types of accommodation, mainly 4- and 5-star hotels, which are conveniently located either to the railway station if you're en route, and or right near where you want to be in those destination cities and areas. We can always also organise activities for you, sightseeing, meals, etc. We can arrange transfers for you if you wish. These aren't group tours with a tour guide. These are independent. You put your own itineraries together with our help, and we can add as much or as little as you want. We can even arrange ferries for the more remote journeys, if you want to go out to Greece, etc., and inner city transportation where appropriate as well. A big advantage of working with Railbookers is because we have insider access with all these rail companies that we work with. You can book your holidays and plan your holidays with us well ahead of when those tickets are on sale to the public. As I said, we work very closely with these companies, and as long as you're booking a holiday with us, once it's on deposit, all the prices are guaranteed. So if you're planning that special, maybe a special birthday or an anniversary, and you want to plan it well in advance, you don't have to wait for the railway companies to release their schedules and tickets. You can confirm everything up with us in advance, and it can be quite complicated when you're linking different nationalities, different nations' railway systems, from the UK through France, through Switzerland to Italy, etc. Also, we're totally flexible. I'll be going through later today 7 itineraries of how to get around Switzerland, but any of our itineraries are all just suggestions based on what we know works and what we know is possible. But you can customize any of them. You can add extra rail journeys, you can add extra hotel nights, even totally different cities, or even build your own package from scratch. Just speak to our experienced rail travel experts here in the office. What do I mean by customize? Exactly that. So you could take one of our packages, for example, Venice and the Bernina Express, but then you can add extra nights in Venice and maybe even add on an extra city or a different way to come back to the UK. It's your holiday. You can even combine itineraries. For example, we have an itinerary to Venice through the Swiss Alps, which you could then combine with a trip to Florence and Rome. When I say speak to our experts here in the office, our call center, all our bookings are made over the phone. You can't book our stuff online. It's way too complicated and too important and too customized to do that. But all our staff here go and experience the product themselves. They know how these things work, and you can see examples of all our staff there in different destinations. And we have various different holiday types, scenic rail journeys, classical journeys, as I'll describe a few of those later on in Switzerland. You can even do it for a simple city break to Bruges or Amsterdam or Paris, etc. Perhaps you're going on a cruise and you want to have a different way of getting to Venice or Barcelona, or a river cruise. You can contact us and we can customize something that suits your specific holiday needs. Our top destinations, you can see there, Italy, Switzerland, Spain and Portugal in Europe. We do North America, and we're even getting increasing demand to Scandinavia. But today we're going to concentrate on Switzerland and our 2019 offerings to Switzerland. A lot of these are just different ways and different combinations depending on your time available, your budget, and your specific demands. So some of the images I'll be showing you on this presentation will be repeating, but they're all different views of specific cities, and I'll try not to repeat myself too much. Scenic Switzerland is an 8-night rail journey around Switzerland, taking in the best and beautiful sights that it has to offer. It starts, you can see, with a 2-night stay in St. Moritz. Beautiful shot there of St. Moritz, probably more famous in the winter as a ski destination, but it's 320 days of sunshine a year and a spectacular place to spend some time. And even in the you might not have packed your gear for the casino, but it's worth considering it if that appeals. It's also the home of the historical Cresta Run, the famous tobogganing race. And then after St. Moritz, we go to Zermatt. And this pedestrian village is famed for its history as a mountaineering base. It's a car-free town, only accessible by train, taxi, or helicopter. So obviously we're concentrating here on the train access. And on this journey, before you go from St. Moritz to Zermatt, you travel on the Bernina Express into Italy, and I'll explain more about the Bernina Express later in the presentation. And then from St. Moritz to Zermatt, you travel on the Glacier Express. I have more slides on those two journeys later. This is just showing you the itinerary of the Scenic Switzerland trip. And after Zermatt, you have the opportunity from Zermatt to go up to the Gornergrat Cog Railway, taking in one of the most spectacular panoramas in all of Switzerland, with the iconic outline of the Matterhorn in the background. And after your 2 nights in Zermatt, you make the journey across around Lake Geneva to Lausanne. And then from Lausanne, you take the Golden Pass line through Montreux to the gorgeous city of Lucerne, which is a great view of Lucerne there. I spent a couple of nights there myself there this summer, and the famous covered bridge across the river, and a beautiful setting there in Lucerne, where you'll spend 3 nights. On one of those nights, you'll take the trip through to Interlaken and up to the highest railway station in Europe at the Jungfraujoch. And again, I have more images of that, and explanation of that, which I'll cover later in the presentation. And also from Lucerne, you do the trip to Mount Pilatus, which is a superb journey by boat, by cable car, and by funicular railway. You go from Lucerne across a beautiful lake journey and up to Mount Pilatus and back down the other side in a full day trip. So that is the Scenic Switzerland itinerary. As you see there, that just summarizes everything it includes: an 8 nights hotel stay, 8 nights different hotel stays, all with breakfast, an 8-day Swiss pass. We make all the reservations for you on the scenic rail journeys, the Bernina Express, the Glacier Express, and the Golden Pass trains. We include the day trip on the Gornergrat Cog Railway from Zermatt and the day trip to the top of Mount Pilatus from Lucerne. The Swiss Pass also gives you travel on not just trains in Switzerland, all the local buses and trams and ferries on the lakes as well. So you take advantage of that on any spare time that you have left on this lovely trip. And those prices for that whole excursion starts at £1,869. Another of our new itineraries for Switzerland for 2019 is the Bernese Oberland, where this trip we base on flights to and from Zurich from the UK, wherever you live in the UK. You'll see as we go through, a lot of our excursions, a lot of our trips are based on Eurostar to Paris, and then the TGV Lyria service to the various Swiss cities such as Zurich, Bern, Geneva, Lausanne, and Basel. But if you don't live close enough to the UK, or you don't want to take that Eurostar and the scenic route, you can always customize your trips to fly in and out of the Swiss gateway cities. On this journey, Bernese Oberland, you travel from Zurich. You fly to Zurich, then travel from Zurich to Bern, which is a lovely, still a medieval city, survives, surrounded by rivers there, and it's the Swiss capital, and the old town there is a UNESCO listed area with lovely fountains, cafes, shopping, etc. And then after 2 nights in Bern, you have a day to experience Bern. After 2 nights in Bern, you take the journey south on the train from Bern to Wengen, and that is exactly the view I had from my hotel room in Wengen back in May. You can see there's still plenty of snow on the mountains in May. Wengen is a delightful Swiss car-free village up in the mountains above Interlaken, and it's a great base to plan your excursion to the Jungfraujoch, which I explained was featured on Scenic Switzerland as well. But to reach the peak, the Jungfraujoch is the highest railway station in Europe. The cogwheel train climbs up the mountain on a slope that sometimes reaches 25 degrees. It's quite impressive. It's one of the most popular train journeys in the world. And when you reach the top, weather permitting, you can look at the amazing view, which can, on a clear day, you can see Germany and France from the top of the Jungfraujoch. That's the view from when you get up to the top. And once you're up on there, up at the Jungfraujoch, you can walk on a glacier. You can explore the Sphinx Observatory. There's a couple of restaurants there, and there's also the world's highest Lindt chocolate shop, which you might indulge yourself in when you get there. It's another lovely view of Lucerne. Another shot of Lucerne. As I said, as a Scenic Switzerland, from Lucerne, you can we include the Mount Pilatus day trip with a ferry boat ride from Lucerne to Alpnachstad, then an exciting journey up to the top of Mount Pilatus on actually the steepest cog railway. So the Jungfraujoch goes to the highest station. Mount Pilatus has the steepest cog railway in the world. So that's a different way of seeing those iconic sites in Switzerland, and that has 7 nights hotel stay with breakfast, an 8-day Swiss pass, and again we include all the necessary supplements for those mountain excursions. And the highlight of the trip is the Jungfrau Railway. Another variation on our trips to Switzerland is the peaks of Switzerland from Wengen. I showed you Wengen on the previous itinerary. This one you actually travel from London to Paris on Eurostar, then change to the TGV Lyria service from Paris to Basel, where you spend 1 night before, again, taking the rail journey to Wengen, that lovely Swiss village I showed you before. That's a different view of it. You really do see the alpine chalets, the cows with their distinctive cowbells, and some lovely walks and are available from Wengen. And then from there, as a base, we take you up on a day trip to the Schildhorn, which was made famous in the James Bond movie. And that's, you travel by train and cable car to the summit of the Schildhorn, and you see some beautiful mountain and valley views the entire way up. Then, because you're spending 5 nights in Wengen, you have some free time. I see there's your Swiss pass allows you to explore that whole region. There's waterfalls, there's walks to waterfalls. You can see waterfalls in the distance there on that image. So you can have some lovely long walks and hiking. And then you also, again, that's Wengen station, the train leaving there to go up to the Jungfraujoch, which I explained on the previous itinerary, the journey up to Jungfraujoch. And then you can come back down. You can go up clockwise to Jungfrau Joch and come back down anti-clockwise and return to Wengen, Wengen that way. And then, having finished your stay in Wengen, we take you back to Paris via Lauterbrunnen, Interlaken and Basel, and then we have an overnight in Paris to finish off your holiday before returning to the UK. So the Peaks of Switzerland from Wengen, again, you see all these holidays operate year round. So a lot of the images I've shown you have been in the summer, but it's just as beautiful and dramatic in the winter. And that holiday has 6 nights hotel stay with breakfast, the Schilthorn Mountain day trip, the Jungfrau Mountain day trip, and a bonus of a night in Paris on your way home. Then we come to the ultimate Swiss mountain peaks, which you start your journey again on the Eurostar from London, then across Paris and the TGV Lyria to Switzerland, into Basel, then switch trains and make your way to Lucerne for a 2-night stay. As previously mentioned, from Lucerne, on that you have a 2 nights there, but that full day is the day trip to Mount Pilatus, an hour's scenic cruise, and then the 30-minute cog railway, which operates between May and November, and then an aerial gondola and cableway. There's a historic Pilatus Kulm hotel and restaurant at the top, and you make your way back down the other side of the mountain via a gondola and cable car, and then a short bus ride takes you back to Lucerne. And another view there of Lucerne and the river in that city. Another view of the scenery around Wengen. Where you go to for a 2-night stay, and again to include the trip up to the day trip up to the Jungfrau Joch via Lauterbrunnen. The Jungfrau Joch is 3,454 meters above sea level. And another trip that we have before you leave Wengen, use your Swiss pass to travel by train and cable car to the summit of the Schilthorn. And from the Schilthorn, you can see the peaks of the Eiger, the Munch, and the Jungfrau. And the Bond film I mentioned earlier was on Her Majesty's Secret Service. Then you move on day 6 to Zermatt. It's a lovely scenic rail journey from Wengen to Zermatt, and where you have a 2-night stay exploring that car-free alpine village in the shadow of the Matterhorn. And from Zermatt, on the next day, you take the excursion up to the Gornergrat, which is the Gornergrat cog railway that climbs from 1,600 meters above sea level to 3,000 in just 33 minutes. A marvel of engineering back in the 19th century. And from the top of the Gornergrat cog railway, you see the iconic outline of the Matterhorn, as well as all the surrounding peaks and glaciers about you. You have time for a stroll through the nature reserve before taking the same route back down to Zermatt. And then at the end of that trip, from Geneva, you go back via Paris on TGV Lyria to London on Eurostar. So that Ultimate Swiss Mountains package has 7 nights hotel stay, including the supplements for Mount Pilatus, Jungfrau, and the Gornergrat day trips. All these itineraries are just showing you the various ways you can see Switzerland and all the attractions it has to offer. I've covered our new tours so far, but we also have our proven favourites, which year after year have been very popular with Railbookers customers. And this one, the Switzerland's Lakes and Mountains, is just a 6-day, 5-night excursion. Again, you can either fly to Geneva, depending on where you are in the UK, or you could take the Eurostar to Paris and then the TGV Lyria to Geneva, where you arrive for a 1-night stay. And then our hotels are located very near the railway station and the lake in Geneva. I did a 1-night stay there myself earlier this year. You have time to go down to the lakeside, possibly even get out, depending on the time of year, to get on a lake cruise, and then have a nice evening overlooking the lake. The next morning, you take the train all around Lac Léman, or Lake Geneva, to Montreux for the night there. It's a shot of the Lake Geneva and the journey the next morning. It's a lovely scenic trip, taking in the views of the lake, and then you get into Montreux, which is a beautiful city, a hiker's paradise, and a very mild climate. There's even vineyards you see on that route, as you can see in that image. You can see those from the trains as well. And what we recommend to do there is to go and see the famous Chateau de Chillon, which is on Lake Geneva. Then the next day we go from Montreux to Interlaken, and that's the famous Golden Pass train, rising to 1,200 meters before continuing on to Interlaken, where you'll stay 2 nights. And the base of Interlaken, which means literally between lakes, and it sits between the 2 lakes, which again, if you take my advice, I would take a boat trip, which you can do with your included Swiss pass, on one or both of the lakes. And there's it's right in the magnificent Jungfrau region, and from there you can see the Eiger, the Munch, and the Jungfrau. It's quite good for shopping in Interlaken, but the main reason to go there is the day excursion to the Jungfrau Joch. Although that view there you can see in that image is of the Heide Kulm, which you can get to by Cog Railway, funicular railway, from Interlaken. Just a couple of hours excursion to get up there. But the full day, there's another view there of the Jungfrau Joch. You can even see someone paragliding below you. Interlaken is quite famous for paragliding, and you can see literally scores of paragliders coming off the high peaks and landing in the open grassy area in the middle of Interlaken. I've explained what Jungfrau Joch has to offer earlier in this presentation. But then when you leave Interlaken the next day, you take the Glacier Express to Keur. And on board that train, it's a beautiful 5 or 6 hour journey through the majestic Swiss Alps from Brig to Keur. The Glacier Express is not particularly well named. It's not the fastest train in the world because they don't want you speeding past the scenery, but it's a lovely, relaxing journey. You can have a meal on the train, and it's one of the iconic rail journeys to do in Switzerland. Then you arrive at Keur, which is the oldest city in Switzerland. It has a 12th century cathedral, and as you can see there, it's a great base for the third highlight of the trip, the Bernina Express, which you take the next day to Tirano in Italy, where it goes through superb scenery. The Bernina Express is one of the most famous rail journeys that we offer. The actual railway track itself is a UNESCO protected UNESCO heritage site, and we take you through the Swiss Alps into Italy to Tirano, where you have time for a little meander and lunch before taking the Bernina Express back to Keur and seeing the different different perspectives of that journey past lakes, waterfalls, and alpine scenery. And then back to Keur for the night, and the following day take the train to Zurich, and as I said, either then fly home or take the train back to Paris, and then the Eurostar back to London. So all that's included. This is probably our most popular Swiss itinerary, 6 days starting from £1,279, and includes all that you see on the screen in front of you. Then we have a different seeing a slightly different area of Switzerland, going down to the Italian border of Lugano with our new itinerary called Lucerne, Lugano, and the Gotthard Express. Again, you see the main cities of Lucerne, but we're adding, which I've covered earlier in this presentation, but this one also adds Lugano and a paddle steamer and the Gotthard Express, which is a new journey for Railbookers. Again, we plan this on flights to and from the UK to Zurich, but as I've said before, all of these itineraries are customizable. So if you don't want to fly, you can take the train. Again, the Eurostar to Paris, the TGV Lyria from Paris to Zurich. But on arrival in Zurich, we change trains and go to Lucerne, another lovely shot there of the covered bridge in Lucerne. And you have a day to explore Lucerne on day 2 of this trip. And then day 3, you transfer by enjoying a paddle cruiser ride across Lake Lucerne to Flüelen, where you will board the scenic Gotthard Panorama Express all along the Gotthard railway line, another historic railway line, and stunning scenery, where you will arrive in Lugano for a 2-night stay. Lugano is Swiss. It's in Switzerland, but it's right on the Italian border, so has a lot of Italian flair. And there's plenty of architecture, museums, buildings and monuments to enjoy in Lugano. So that itinerary starts from just £1,049. That includes first class travel on the paddle steamer boat across Lake Lucerne, first class travel on the Gotthard Express, and then 2 nights hotel stay with breakfast in Lucerne and Lugano. And that's a mistake on there. There's no stay in Milan on that excursion. And then our sort of shortest, for people really pushed for time that just want to do a quick trip to Switzerland, we have our classic Glacier and Bernina Express, which covers the two famous iconic train journeys, the Glacier Express and the Bernina Express. And includes stays in Interlaken and Kerr. Another shot of Interlaken, which I've covered earlier in the presentation. You have an opportunity when you're in Interlaken to take a day trip up to Jungfraujoch. Different perspective there on that journey. And that journey starts from just £989. There's another view of the Wengen station, and you can see the location really is right in the heart of the Alps. And that includes 4 nights hotel accommodation, the day trip to the Jungfraujoch, and reservations on the Glacier Express, and round trip reservations on the Bernina Express from Kerr to Tirano. And again, that can be taken by either flying to Switzerland or taking the train from the Eurostar to Paris, the TGV Lyria from Paris to Basel, connecting onto Interlaken. So that's our 7 Swiss itineraries that we have for 2019. We have other popular rail holidays, which are all available in our brochure and on our website. And again, if you're interested in anything specific yourself, please let me know. Please contact us. You can email us, whatever. Our best way of making a booking, call us on 0203 327 0805 or visit our website. Visit our website, and if you're interested in a specific itinerary, if you go to, as you can see on the screen there, you go to trip planning, and you can click on how to make a booking and fill in the request that you want. Give us as much information as possible, and we'll be in touch to plan your perfect holiday. If you want to order a brochure, you can do it on that slide as well, and everything you need to know is there, or call us on that number you see below. Well, that's it for now. I hope you've enjoyed this morning's presentation. I thank you for joining us, and as I said, please access the website to request a brochure or call us to make a booking. And if you have any questions, you can do that on the contact us section on the website. So thank you for joining us this morning, and I hope that I'll be welcoming you on a Railbookers holiday in the very near future. Thank you very much. That's it for now, and I wish you a pleasant rest of the day.